Hi everybody, it is Friday, October 4th, 2013. The storm is rolling in. It's just after 6 p.m. and I just finished work over here. Everybody is gone that I can think of. And I just had to stop. There's no reason for me to be here specifically, but it was just nice to sit and not have an intention for a moment after speeding through some 20 business emails today, or more than that, like summary reports, a sales meeting which was really easy, and then the normal 70 calls or so. And it's just mind-blowing how many times we switch tasks and presentation in a day. I can't think of too many jobs where you're really working in isolation anymore, unless you're just doing pure accounting or some kind of maintenance work on your own most of the day. Oh, so many things to address. So I think that unless something has changed in the last couple of hours, we still are officially on a government shutdown in the U.S. And just sort of quickly, I wanted to address that because, as you've probably gathered from videos you've watched from me before, I do believe that everybody is generally at least partially correct in their thoughts on things. And what's really getting me right now is the people that seem to be enjoying the government shutdown and saying that, people deserve it. I heard somebody on the radio saying that everybody deserves it for voting for Obama, which, even if they did vote for Obama, bear in mind that with something like 55% of the eligible voters voting, not everybody did vote for him. What was the final count? Like maybe 68 million, if that, I think, at the time, which is about 23% of the population of the U.S. You never want to wish harm on people, and even people who are doing bad things. You might kind of wish to let nature take its course, but you don't want to wish harm. That's just really inappropriate. And sorry to stop here, but look at this flock, and then look at the clouds. I'll put them right in the center here. That's a very surreal and kind of a dangerous color, to be honest. We do have tornado watches in this area tonight. It's a very unstable atmosphere. I can understand the Republican side, like the extreme Republican side, of shutting down the government for out-of-control expenses and not wanting to raise the debt ceiling, because just from a purely simple-minded kind of perspective, that is what makes the most sense. And they are, in fact, correct that debt is out of control. But it's not something that's a unique United States problem. Pretty much all countries are in that situation, and people really don't realize how China in particular is hiding their financial situation. Pretty much for all the stimulus that we are doing, they have to do as well in order to keep the currencies at the 6 yuan to $1 approximate peg. Otherwise, it would put too much of a strain on their currency. So that's going on, but also trying to wipe out debt assumes that we have like a sound money system in place in these Western countries, and we really don't. It's it's a debt-based system whereby in order to make it appear like growth is happening, you have to cause financial catastrophe somewhere else at any given time. And with so much centralization going on, there's fewer places to push those problems, and so it hits back immediately. I just finished reading this book, and I think I had to shut down the clip because there was too much static. But basically, it explored alternative currencies. And when you have a local currency for certain functions paired with a national currency, if you have what's, I guess you would pronounce a demurrage fee, which means if you don't use it in a certain amount of time, this local currency loses its value. That is much more authentic and has a much stronger velocity and circulation rate. Something like that could solve our economic problems. And so, basically, since neither of the two big parties are even thinking like that, would allow that, then really we have to indefinitely keep raising the debt ceiling and have an infinite steady amount of debt increases in order to basically not let people starve, because that's just all that our powers that be at this time are really going to allow to happen. And they will raise the debt ceiling as they have every year, probably since the early 60s. There's nothing unusual or unique about this situation at all. Just totally ridiculous to put people's lives at stake and the credit rating of the United States. Though, I do understand where people are coming from, so I don't criticize that. Also, people are justifiably angry about the stimulus spending, but that is not something that is approved from the federal budget. That comes from the Federal Reserve indefinitely having quantitative easing in the amount of 85 billion US dollars on balance sheet every month until unemployment hits below, I think 6.5% is what they have been saying, the official number. Second of all, with that train of thought, Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act is not part of this particular budget. So this is not going to impact that. This is far too evolved in order to make that happen. And basically, this is a watered down and not very good healthcare program that they are instigating in order to get something more like what Canada or the UK has. But I do think that it will eventually liberate people to some extent, because what we don't realize is the system that we have now obligates people to work for companies that are often up to really bad things. You notice that generally the more corrupt the job is, the better the insurance plan. So this could liberate people to be more entrepreneurial after a few years of getting used to this. In theory, if more people are involved in this program, insurance premiums should go down, because insurance is all about spreading risk and lessening it through its spread, rather than only letting people who need it buy it, because then that really wouldn't make sense. Personally, I am more in favor of price controls on healthcare having a flat fee where possible. I also think that you could have a sliding scale where people choose their level of participation in social programs based on where they live. Like if you're living in a city and you choose to live where there are more services available, you should be paying a higher tax. But if you're living in an isolated area where you have to travel more in order to get services, or you wish to reduce your participation in that, then your tax should be less. That just seems like logical and fair to me. Anyway, I better be on my way. It's strange to be hanging out outside of work, but I just can't get away from this place. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Bye.